So hopefully we will. There we go. All right. What up? What up? What up, y'all? I am your host, Young Smooth, and we are back once again with another banging interview with one of my favorite people in the world, one of my favorite dopest artists. The boy Kojo is in the building. Say what's up, baby.
Yeah. What up? What up? What up? What up, everybody? How y'all feeling?
Y'all, I'm so ecstatic that you wanted to do this. Thank you for once again reaching out to me. And first of all, you and I have been rocking for quite a minute, at least since like 2018. You know what I'm saying?
It was
From the time that you did the
it was actually
was it 18?
2017.
Was it?
Yep.
Damn.
Did it in the day 4 came out 2017 October.
Mm-hmm. Right, right. And then by the end of the year, you did that. And what was funny about it was we was just starting doing what we were doing at the time. So it wasn't like it was a whole lot of nothing. Like we had just started.
Yo, it's crazy because you caught me at you caught me on the end of a old wave that I was on, in the beginning of a new one. Like literally, did it in the day 4 was that was my last official release that I did when I was cursing and using the N word.
Right.
I did a quick project after that called Yellow Hoodie Kojo. That was like a sound cloud release, but it was more like a playlist. So yeah, when we connected, you caught me right at the end of the like I said, I just did it in the day 4.
Right. And I think what ultimately connected me was that you have ties with the past and you also bring such a level to the future. One of the things, and I talked to Devon about this, was the first time that I loved what y'all do together definitely had to be on Refresh because it
Yeah,
was the Will Smith joint. And I was like, yo, this is amazing. Like, I love this. I love this sound. I love, like, I tell the story, and it's actually in the episode in the podcast when it was the Kickstand podcast. Um, Literally, I was washing clothes, and Alvin was up there. He was doing something else, and I went downstairs to go get the clothes, and I came back, and I'm like in the middle of this song, and I'm like, "Yo, run this song back one more time." So he runs it back, and I'm just in love with it. And it was the first time we did it in the day 4 that I literally was able to listen to a new artist from beginning to end. So I appreciate your artistry.
thank you, man. I appreciate you for saying it. It's when you doing music in an area that hasn't had too many like nationally known blowing up artists from the hip hop side, who's like stood the test of time. I mean, we've had that spurts in different guys who had moments or whatever. So to hear you say that you were able to listen to the entire project, man, yo, that mean a lot to me for real. And like I said, I know it ain't just talk, because like I say, off camera, we all got a lot of mutual people in common, and
We lost you a little bit.
hi, you heard, yo, oh man, can you hear me?
Come on, come on.
There you go.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. So you were saying,
Yeah, I
go back to
said,
what you were saying again.
yeah, we got a lot of mutual people in common. So outside
Hmm.
of, so I know this ain't just talk for the interview. Like this real conversation we have.
Right. Like my cousin, bro. Like that's so crazy.
Yeah,
And you've met a lot of my family that I don't think that you are aware that are my family, which is so crazy. Like this city in general, Baltimore in general is small, but Annapolis is even smaller because
even smaller, right?
is in there. So it is it's one of those things. And I was just like, um one of the things that I always want to do, and I think I've even learned the lesson through Coincide, is that I want to be able to be the person of my merit. You know what I'm saying to you? And what I find dope, I know that other people will find dope.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm like, yo, I got nothing but love at that particular point for what you do. So I do have a question though.
Yes, sir.
How are you holding up in this pandemic?
Man, during this pandemic, like it really gave me a chance to reflect. It gave me a chance to really get back into the studio. You know, outside of the pandemic, I was doing a lot of traveling, a bunch of shows, a bunch of different events. So with the pandemic happening, it just, I was like, yo, I got to make good of this time. I got to make sure I'm putting my best foot forward, even in this situation. So against the thought processes of like family members and people like, yo, you sure you want to go out? You sure you want to be in the studio? You sure? And I'm like, yo, I got to. Like, if everything that I've seen in my years on this planet, if it was all over the dead tomorrow, I would want to make sure something lives on. And that something is my voice for me. And I just feel like it is my purpose, and I had to walk in it. So through the pandemic, I really feel like I stay COVID free. Anybody who know me and or familiar with the studio I record at, they know I come through with the sprays, the wipes. I'm going in there going crazy. You know, trying to keep.
I have watched it. I just recently witnessed it the other day.
Yeah, trying to make sure me and everybody else around me stay safe or whatever. So yeah, man. Through this pandemic, I actually recorded a lot of music.
You had, and we're going to talk about some of that because the last time that we spoke, we definitely spoke about 4, and that was actually in the earlier part of the pandemic. And everybody was like, "Oh, yo, you know when Kojo here, it smelled like Lysol in this bitch." Like you know for sure that you there. So I mean, I think that is an amazing, admirable quality. How has it affected your not the ability to make music, but how has it affected your music? Has it affected your sound?
Really, it hasn't. I think what it has taken a toll on is the workload that I've put on myself. Where a lot of topics and a lot of things from past experiences and things that's been in my music before, they resurfaced. I got to tell a little more details on a lot of different stories that have been placed in the music already, but due to one of the records on Coincide, which was I Cry,
which I love I Cry,
man, that resonated directly to now. Those are things that was spoken on that happened previous, but it really was a song that focused on now because one of the people I spoke about in that song had actually died from COVID-19. So
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Real influential guy, like in my city and in my personal life, just somebody I known as a kid that I grew up and just respecting a lot of his morals and values and the way he moved. So COVID definitely affected the music making process with the precautions. But outside of that, like, yo, I'm here for a reason. I got a purpose. I'm the guy who has fasted for 40 days. I walk around feeling like I could walk on water. So it's just like I can't let this this pandemic stop me, man. I'm gonna be a light. I'm gonna be a light in this dark time.
And you know what? It's fun. I love the fact that you said that, especially about the fasting. What just came to mind, I thought about it. Every time that you and I do an interview or we talk, it is on the cusp of what you're doing. Because even with one of the last interviews, it was really like, yo, I just fasted. I'm doing this. It was changing, and it was changing the dynamic of not cursing and so on and so forth. So with the whole not cursing situation, how much do you feel that has impacted your music? Because before you answer the question, listening to the music, I think that it has made it come harder. I think that it's made you think harder. I think it's made you verbalize harder, and I love it personally. And it's like you don't discourage anybody else that's around you from doing what they do, but I think it literally puts you into a perspective to propel it. Like I need to use a different verbiage. All of these words need to mean things and match. So, but how does it feel to you? That's just me being a consumer. How does that feel to you?
No, you actually spot on, man. That was one of the things that my mom and my grandmama was preaching to me for a long time as far as, certain language and what I said, but it was one of those things you never do anything until you feel like it, you know.
Mhm.
Well, you don't do it wholeheartedly anyway. And I
Right.
just want to be invested. So I had my reasons for switching up. And once I did that, I'm doing records with people who do use the language that I was decided not to use anymore. So
Mhm.
when getting on those records and doing those songs, it was just like, well, I know how they gonna come as far as the intent and the intensity of it. So
Mhm.
I wasn't gonna let a few words be the reason why it felt like I wasn't keeping up or I wasn't matching energy. So yeah, it definitely put me into a space because for me, certain words were like a crutch. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like certain words you can make rhyme with anything, you can put it with anything. So with this, it was more like, man, if I tweak this, twist that, I just want to be able to say and like I said, I'm not the only artist who don't do it, but I just knew for myself, like, wow, after going over 10 years with creating music in a certain type of way, using certain type of language, just the altering of a few words and not using it, hey, there's no telling where it could go. And as you can see, like it landed me in some prime time spots and places that
Right.
I probably never would have got the opportunity to be in and do if I was still using a certain language.
And not only that, I think that it has propelled your pen. Like what I've noticed is that there is an intensity in the passion and there's an intensity in the cadence in which you do things now, which is completely different from did it in day four. I think did it in the day four was your cocoon originally, but I
Mhm.
think that coincide is like your magnum opus, if that
Mm,
makes sense. You know what I'm saying to you? Like if you were in that cocoon and you were like, I'm already blossoming and butterflying out, but this is the work that you have to do. I think that coincide speaks to the people. I think that there's a level of reality in it, you know what I'm saying to you, that is it's your own reality, but people are able to gravitate to that. You know, and again, I'm a fan, so I really can't I can't do anything else but gush over top of this project, but these are the things that I'm getting from the growth that is inside your music at this point.
no, that's that man, yo, you hitting a lot of points right on the mark. Uh,
Mhm.
the crazy thing is, I didn't realize it was going to turn into that. Honestly, um,
Right.
when the producer, shout out to Just H, when he reached out to me and was like, hey yo, I want to do a project and I want to produce the whole thing for you. Uh, I'm like, cool.
Hmm.
We talked about
Shout
it.
out to Just H because all of the songs are amazing.
Yeah, yeah. He did something special with that because he just had a whole bunch of beats, like a whole pack, and he
Hmm.
shot it through. We chopped it up we chopped it up on like maybe a Friday about the idea of doing something. We had no titles, we had no idea how many songs and nothing like that. So the weekend went by. We probably reconnected on Monday, talked about it again, like, yo, we really, through text. Uh by Wednesday night, he had sent maybe 25 beats, probably 30.
Hmm.
He had sent. So Wednesday night, once I got him, maybe Thursday morning, I start going through, finding, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. So between Wednesday night and Sunday, which Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 days.
Hmm.
From Wednesday night to Sunday morning, I created the entire coincide. All of those
Hmm.
songs were written. There were probably out of that whole project, there were probably 2 to 3 verses that was already kind of formulated and put with something, but everything else was created within
Right.
a 4 day span. So he gave me the beats on a Wednesday night. I'm in the studio Sunday, and I recorded the entire project
Hmm.
in a 10-hour studio session. So with that, I got to shout out all the artists, all the features, everybody who came through to participate. Shout out Tony Craig for
Yeah.
getting the session, the gold room, all of that. So we went through that whole process, knocked the whole thing out. Um,
And
and
you know what? Before you go any further, let the kids let the younger statesmen understand what you have accomplished. Let me put it into a very simpler form. You are working like a workhorse, but in for a purpose. So at the end of the day, you got did it in a day for which you did it in 24 hours.
For sure.
This project took 4 days
To write.
to write and
Uh-huh.
10 hours to complete.
Right.
You've done four. You
Yeah.
have another project that I know about that's in the works, and we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
And 2020 is just coming to an end.
Yeah. And there's so many other things that transpired.
Right.
Because in the midst of creating Coincide, we recorded that in May. And
Mm-hmm.
just to give you like some small backstory, won't go too much into it. We'll save that for another time. But what happened was after I recorded Coincide, the following Tuesday night, so I recorded it on Coincide on the Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday night, which is 2 days later, I hooked up with another producer from my city by the name of Rolo, and he gave me a whole beat pack.
Right.
And I was in the studio the following Sunday after 5 days and recorded a whole nother project titled Benny.
Mm-hmm.
That, we're gonna keep a lot of that under wraps. But yeah, I just want to let people know, like, so in 2 weeks' time, I wrote over 30 songs, and not just wrote them but recorded them, all while working on other projects, collaboration projects, and all that. So the whole idea is just putting the work in is clearly what I'm about. But
Right.
back to Coincide, yeah. After we did that in May, and we didn't put it out till August. So
Mm-hmm.
in that time period, a lot of things had transpired, a lot of things had happened, and I had reached out to Just H, and I was just like, yo, what we did back in May, I think it's dope. It's fire. I say, but yo, I just want to give the world something fresh to put on there, because we got these, at the time it was 12 songs. And I said, man, I just want to add something new. Just so I feel like I ain't cheating the people. We did that back in May. So he had sent 4 more beats, and out of those 4, I Cry and Stop were 2 of the songs that came out of the last beat pack. So Stop and I Cry were the last 2 songs recorded for the Coincide project. So all of that is just like you say, it's like a cocoon. We put all of these things together, and once it came out to everybody, the response, the night it came out, the response I got was crazy. Because
Right.
we dropped the I Cry video first before the project came out, and
Mm-hmm.
man, it hit over 3,000 views probably in less than a day and a half.
Right.
Man, because once again, it was just so real and it was so relevant. And it was just, like I said, it's a blessing. And shout out to Devon Danielle. She filmed 4 of the videos off of
Mm-hmm.
the Coincide project. Not a trained videographer, not nobody who, been doing this for a minute, like just off the strength, out of a necessity. Like, yo, we gotta get visuals out there. So she just, shot it. We put it out. It worked. We shot more. And then shout out to Dirt Road, who also came through, and he shot 2 videos, which is Summertime and
Mm-hmm.
Fact, for the Coincide project.
What I love about you is that you are able to witness the good in people and understand what their quality is and bring it out prolifically. Do you believe that you are prolific in your music? I'm gonna ask the question, but I'm gonna tell you why I've asked this. The reason why I said it is because in your music, there's always a level of this is what I've done, but there's so much more to there's so much more to go. So do you feel as though that you are prolific in your music?
I think I'm so in it
Mm-hmm.
that I never look at it from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
I take the opinions, and I hear the opinions of others and the thoughts of others. The one thing I know is everything is purpose. I'm not sure how else it's viewed, because I know how I feel when I write it.
Right.
And when I'm coming up with it, like there's a lot of songs that, may sound like, oh, that's like a jazzy tune, or that's just rapping or whatever. But the truth of the matter is, a lot of these songs I write, I cry in a sense after writing a certain bar, or I got to get up and walk away from it because it be so true.
Mm-hmm.
And to have to live in a space where nobody's ever gonna respect it and understand it, because even if somebody say, I love your music, I feel you, or whatever, like, I had family members who had to pass away for these to become my stories.
Right.
I had, to go through some hardships personally myself, to have these stories. So I understand that, like, I give this all up today if in the trade I would get a family member back or a friend back or whatever. So I understand what I'm doing is like, for me, it's like priceless. I'm really giving you my heart. Like, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily getting on songs trying to say the coolest, flyest, ground shaking, breaking thing. I'm just trying to tell you my truth, and
Mm-hmm.
and, and praise that it connects, and land on the heart of the listener.
Right. So with that in mind, like, what is your writing process like? Like, how does that come about? Because there are people that are able to translate pain into the music, and I get that. And sometimes it doesn't come off as authentic as they may want it to. But like, how do you channel that? Because if you're walking away, like, if I am personally emotional and I'm walking away from a verse, I'm walking away from a verse for a minute. You know what I'm saying? To come back to it. So how do you re coincide everything everything that's there and be like, okay, this is how I'm going to go back and reapproach it? So how do you work through your writing process?
Um, I think all the people who been listening to me from the jump, and I just know I owe it to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at this point, I don't feel like there's necessarily something to prove, but I definitely feel like, uh, there were people who was rocking with me at a time where we go into certain spots 3 and 4 times a week,
Right.
and we putting up $5 to $10 of everybody last for gas money and different things like that. So for me to keep going, it's always been a necessity for me, because uh I'm the one that got to tell the story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a story that deserves to be told. So
Right.
when it gets too emotional in a writing process, I walk away, and then I start to think. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the things that come to me is, uh man, the sacrifices that's been made for me to be even at this point, to have somebody willing to talk to me about the music, to have people willing to pay me and fly me, and have me come to certain places to perform, and
Mm-hmm.
just care that much, who's showing up to places just because I'm there. Because there was a time where um we were showing up to places and there was no one there. It was time
Mm-hmm.
there was 1 or 2 people there. There was times when the only people there were the other artists that was performing, so we were kind of performing for each other. So
Mm-hmm.
to a space where you got actual fans, you got
Right.
actual people who, like, are hanging on to the words, and the words you're saying are so relatable to their life, and things that they've been through. Um, Man, that's a priceless feeling. So that's normally the thing that pushed me through the writing process, on top of all the promises that I
Yeah.
made to my nieces and my nephews, and just the people I got love for and I care for. Like, yo, I'm doing this to change the narrative, um,
Mm-hmm.
and show that we can be more than anybody thought we could be, and we can do it the way that everybody say we couldn't. Because right
Yeah.
now, it's a lot of things happening in the world, and on the music scene, man, that's happening in such a unrealistic and ungenuine way, that it's like, yo, I just want to be the guy who stands for something, because
Right.
you stand for something, you fall for anything.
So when did you have your aha moment? So when I say that, I mean, like, your aha moment, like, yo, people are really rocking with this, because anybody in this game has their moments where they want to give up. But when did you have that moment where you were like, yo, I'm doing this for everybody? What was that, and what was that moment like?
Man, it was a couple of them that happened that I didn't realize at the time were moments. And it took me looking back. I was in crazy thing. I was in middle school, and this was around the time uh, um, one of my childhood friends had passed away.
Mm-hmm.
She was a classmate of mine, and I had wrote like a rap to her in dedication, and I performed it like at an assembly or something, and it was just like, hey man, I'm doing what I do. And her parents was there crying, but I'm in middle school, so I remember going home telling my mom like, "Mom, I did this thing, and people cried, and it was like weird." But it as a kid, it didn't dawn on me that it connected. So that was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay. So fast forward all these years later, um, I was, I'm gonna say, I had a group, well, a collective of people that I was doing music with, and um,
Mm-hmm.
people started going different ways. And I remember Jay-Z said the Rockefeller breakup had people losing hope. I ain't gonna lie, they had Muhammad Hovey on the ropes. And I used to listen to that lyric a lot because I'm like, man, uh, we had such a thing going with the crew that I was with. But like I say, life happened, responsibilities, things changed in everybody's life. So a lot of people, we all just started going different ways. And when you stand in a space where you calling yourself Mr. Annapolis, like that's what I'm claiming for the city. And it wasn't really on no braggadocious. It was more like
Mm-hmm.
I was one of the people who I can honestly say I know I was reaching out and incorporating more artists from my city to be a part of things I was doing than anybody else. So it was that, but it started not being looked at as like, oh, respect or love. It was like, oh, I guess a lot of people started looking at it as like, oh, he being braggadocious. So I started not feeling like love or even like camaraderie in my city. So I really like, yo, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, right? Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
legit like, yo, I don't know. Like it just started not feeling like love anymore. So I went through that space then, right? And I mean
Right.
deep, like, yo, I reached out, I connected so many things and people, like in return, I get like people, tails to kiss, like dang. And then I went to Pittsburgh
Mm-hmm.
and I performed this song. Um, called She's My Child off of my project, Mr. Annapolis 2,
Right.
that was released in 2012. And I didn't have a crew with me. I had maybe one or two people with me who came from Maryland to Pittsburgh with me. And I'm performing She's My Child. And before I got to the end of the song, the crowd just erupted.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody stood up, standing ovation, middle of the song, like I didn't even get a chance to finish it. And right then and there, it was like, oh no, this is bigger than me. This is far beyond what I thought, because I'm battling with the idea of, should I even keep doing music? But I just
Right.
walked into a place 5.5 hours away from home amongst a auditorium full of strangers, and I'm talking 300 people, and I know 3-4 people personally in the crowd, but the entire
Mm-hmm.
crowd stands up, standing ovation, clapping. It was crying. And I said, wow, like, no, I got to stick to this.
And you speak about that in facts only.
Yeah, yeah. I speak about it on
Right.
4 as well, and I've been a man in places, but yeah, in fact, only, yeah, I tap on, yes, yeah, yeah. Oh man, you really listening? Yeah,
Let me
strangers.
tell you something. I tell you this every single time. You know me.
No,
You know, I'm gonna talk about. We got to talk about the music. I got to talk about the facts. Like I hate to do this and not really be like, yo, I heard the music. Like, no, I immersed myself in the music, and especially after doing this, I did it all week long. I listened all week long, going bar for bar, and really kind of thinking like, what does it mean? So yeah, no, absolutely, and I definitely want to go over my favorite tracks. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Yes, I gotta
yeah,
take that out of it.
no, yeah, you're right. No, Effects Only was one of those things where, like I said, once I figured that was gonna be the intro track,
Don't
well, the
do me like
intro
this.
first song, I just knew I wanted to be, once again, wanted to tell my truth. But I know what often happens is a lot of people's, the saying is you capping, you fronting, or whatever. So that's why Facts Only was so important, especially the video, because we were able to capture. We had the footage, so everything I was saying in Facts Only, we had the footage to back it up. So it was just like,
Mm-hmm.
let me show you. So that's why, yeah, the Facts Only video, probably one of my favorite videos I've ever done.
Right. If you want to talk about one of my favorites, you have elevated the game. And again, this is why I have nothing but love for you, King. I have nothing but love for you, brother. You push people to their newest limits every single time. And the
Yeah,
reason why I say that is because summertime.
yeah.
Let's talk summertime. Okay.
Mm.
You have what is it? Four to four or five female voices on there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So you have five female voices on there.
Yes.
On top of that, they all have to blend together. Shout out
Uh-huh.
Craft because we talked about
Yeah,
that before. And on top of that, as a hip hop artist, you did not dominate the song. You put your input into the middle of the song.
yeah.
Talk about that process through summertime because it's one of my favorite tracks. And I love and hate Devon so much right now because I just listened to it earlier, like right before we started, and it's like so in my head. And that's just like we talked about with one little piece, it's always in my head. Like she gets these bangers that stay in my head, and that is one of them. But talk about summertime.
Yeah. Man, I always gotta salute the team. Um, when I came up with the idea, I actually sent the beat to her, and I said, "What you hear?" And that's the beauty of the team we have, with Comp, Dirt Road, Devon, Tony Craft, um,
Mm-hmm.
that whole collective in that space, because the ego doesn't share the same room with us. So
Right, right.
um, I sent Devon that beat, and she was like, "Yo, this is what I hear." She sent me a voice note back, and I said, "Oh, that's it." And I wrote a verse, and a verse I wrote ended with, "Got me feeling like a king with all these queens that's in here." It's how I
You're
ended
right.
the verse, and I said, "Oh, what if I just got a bunch of girls on here?"
Mm-hmm.
It was other girls who laid parts who ended up not being on the thing, for different reasons or whatever,
Right.
but definitely by their choice, because I wanted as many women as possible. Like once I said that line, so then I went back and came up with my lyrics. So I started reaching out to every woman who I've done music with, but I was really pressed not to. I wanted it to be um heavily something that I didn't do, which is sing. So
Mm-hmm.
I reached out to a lot of singers and poets, and man, they were coming with it. And I was so amped up because I had Devon's hook already, and I had Energy Special K. I had Special K's verse. So Bona realized, hey man, this special right here. Let me reach out to some ladies I know. And that's where Bianca and Colada came from. And it was like, oh man, it's crazy. So the person who was originally on the first verse just ended up not doing it. So we had that spot open. And I knew Whitney from another studio that I had recorded at. So I had reached out to
Mm-hmm.
her super like I'm talking 2 days, maybe 2 days before the video. And I'm like, yo, I understand this last minute, boom, 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 boom. But we shooting a video in Ocean City. But man, I sent her the beat. She recorded her verse, mixed her vocals, sent it back to Krav. He put the touch on it, and then everybody showed up in Ocean City.
Mm-hmm.
Special K came all the way from Pittsburgh just to be a part of this. So it was such a beautiful thing, man, with the Summertime song. And if you listen to the song and see the video, the audios are different.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to highlight the women. I was just so appreciative of them playing ball with me, as far as like, all right, because a lot of times they say women don't work together. A lot of people got catty energy, all of that stuff. But I mean, they came through for me, and that's why the poem at the end of Summertime, where I highlighted each lady or whatever, because I was super appreciative of what they did for me.
Oh yeah, not to mention the fact that like my girl Colada was in it, and I have a special place in my heart for Colada. Like it was that moment. So when I originally first listened to Coincide, I was driving and I didn't look at the track listing. Like I totally did. So everything was a surprise to me. So Devon, not necessarily because I know that voice iconically so well, but I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay. So mind you, Summertime is one of those tracks that comes in like in the midst of everything. Like you already have gotten hype, you're there, you're a moment, and then
Crazy, all that happened already.
right, and then a vibe comes in, and so Devon's killing it, and I'm like, okay, cool, and I'm listening, and I'm like, not my baby. I'm driving. I'm like, yo, I love this part. Like I'm so excited about that. Then you move on, and then you got the Two Cup song, and I'm like, y'all just you can't keep hitting me like this. I'm not sure if I'm ready for all of this.
Shout out to
So
Tony Crabb. Shout out to Tony Crabb for that idea to put those songs back to back like that.
mm-hmm. He's very influential in trying to do that. Like even working with his new project, I'm like, I like that song, but if you use a secondary song that goes right next to it, like I think it's gonna work well. Because one thing that I think I enjoy about what you do and why this album is so iconic right now in your career is because you know how to order an album. You know what I'm saying to you? Like you know how to put it together so it feels and there is an emotional ride and there's a purpose to that emotional ride. So I definitely appreciate it.
And that's why I say I got to give credit where it's due, man. Wasn't my intention to. I literally wrote how I felt once I heard each beat.
Mm-hmm.
Those songs were recorded and laid. Um, my only input on the order was the No ID intro, talking about Picasso's and stop signs.
Signs, yeah.
Yeah, and because I knew this project was going to be it was going to be for a particular taste. I didn't look at this project as going to be one of those things that was going to be for everybody,
Right.
because there's not like any hard 808 trap driven records that's just simply on the sound of now.
Mm-hmm.
I knew this was going to be an art piece. I knew it was going to be one of those things that you couldn't listen to. You can't listen to this one time and say, "Oh, I get it." I don't, you can, but that's not giving an honest, real listen, because it's too many things being said. It's so many things being coded and tucked away in those lyrics, man. That a one time listen, and I say this as humbly as possible. You're doing yourself a
The
disservice.
service,
It was a
absolutely.
one time listen.
Or like for instance, I'm gonna say this line wrong and I apologize, but it was like, I love the hate, I embrace the hate.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Love. I love to love. Love is love, but I'm embracing
No,
that.
don't do that.
You there? Yo, yo. Oh, we got disconnected for a second. Yeah, we got disconnected.
Okay,
yeah,
no, say that again. Say that line again.
I love the love. I love to love, but I'm embracing the hate. Yeah,
And I was like,
going crazy actually was the last song I recorded that night. That I recorded, did the 10-hour studio session. So if anybody hears it on the hook, my voice sound, I'm going crazy, hey, I'm out of my mind, because all the tone in my voice was gone. So you know, we just had to make it work. And in the midst of coincide, man, it's such a deep thing, man. While recording that, I had got a call that my grandma might not make it through the night, and she was in the hospital at 104. So like her energy, I felt pushed me through. Like we people about completion. We people about you know, she lived to be 104. So we about making history. That's all. That's it. So man, I did that in Words of Wisdom with a heavy heart, because those are the last two songs I recorded that night. And it just meant so much to me, and because she's such a strong spirit. So the doctors was wrong, of course, thinking that was gonna be her last night. So I made it down there to see her, and she actually lived for another 2 weeks. And then she passed away. But
the theme of this interview has been purpose, and I'm going to explain to you what that is. When things like that happen, and people that we love pass like that, when doctors tell you that there's no way for them to make it, they'll make it. The reason why is because they've already seen the other side, and yes, that's very true. But they come back because it's unfinished business. You understand what I'm saying to you? So that is that purpose. The purpose was, I still have unfinished business to at least give you a sense to be able to cope with. I understand that I'm going. I know where I'm going. I'm at peace with this. I had the same thing happen to one of my favorite aunts, and I didn't realize it until I was actually watching something on YouTube, going down a rabbit hole. But I realized like she was practically gone, and was able to come back for Christmas, spent her last Christmas with us, and then passed on Easter. But it was supposed to be that way. Every single person that was supposed to be in that room and in those rooms during the holiday and all of those things were supposed to be there, because she had to say her finals to everybody. Like my uncle that had been in jail for 30 years was back home. She had to say her goodbyes to everybody beforehand. And sometimes in life, that's kind of what that is. And it's part of the purpose. It's like you run a good run. You know what I mean? And grandmothers and great aunts that are like that, especially back in the day, are the matriarchs of our families. And because they're the matriarchs of our families, it's like, yo, you have to be able to say your goodbyes. And literally, I take solace in knowing that she was able to say goodbye to everybody at that moment. You know what I mean?
You know, I get it.
Yeah. So that is what it is. And I just wanted to give you that, because sometimes I think people aren't able to find the comfort in that. It's like, damn, you were good for a minute, you were good for 2 weeks, you were good for a couple of months, but then you're gone. You know what I'm saying? And it seems so sudden. But the solace is, a lot of people don't get the chance to say goodbye, period.
Oh, I know it. I know it.
So time is definitely precious in this moment. So moving forward, I ain't want to bring it all down, but I definitely say that word of wisdom to you, because I learned that, and I was like, I have to impart that on you. But moving forward, I also am in love with the motivation. That will be my new workout song.
Yeah.
So, and I love the fact that you're bringing a lot of new artists in that you're working with, because not only was Motivation my new workout song, but also what was it? I think it was, well, yeah, Going Crazy, of course. And
Yeah, went out again.
What else was I
Yeah.
feeling? Oh,
Oh,
my
there you
bad.
go.
It's been raining all day, so that's okay. It's been raining all day. We where the pools and the trees at, so it is what it is. Um, so um, oh, another song that I liked, and I love the fact that you're bringing out all type of different artists, especially Friend. Um, for the record, with Sweets Monroe.
Yeah.
That is something different. That is
Yeah.
something different.
That was one of the verses what that was pre-written prior
Hmm.
to the coincide thing, but it just shows you, man, when people in the room, like I had no intention that, she was gonna uh do the ad libs and uh
Hmm.
that it was gonna come out like that. But for the record was so important, because coincide, like I said, it didn't have a title at the time when we was recording, but
Hmm.
uh there was so many things that hadn't been addressed um directly. And
Hmm.
when you're in this hip hop thing and you're from a small city and or a small area in general, everybody has their whispers and their thoughts and different things. And for the record was just a way for me to bear um even more my truth. Um because a lot of people think a lot of people don't think Kojo's my real name. So
It
it's
so is.
So I
It's,
want to give them that, but then also me and Dirt Road do this collective thing where we call ourselves Kilo Jones because
mhm,
his last name is Jones, but my birth name, my mama named me Kilo. We use that as a collective. So when I started and tell for the record, I'm Kilo Orlando James. That was my birth name. That was what my mama named me. That's on my birth certificate. Um,
mhm,
but my pops was heavily into like the political world in the '80s and whatever. So he was just like, whoa, wait a minute, Kilo. That's like another name for a lot of drugs. Like, you sure that's what? No, we ain't doing that. And he changed it to
right.
coke. So I just wanted to use for the record as the opportunity to speak on um those moments. And then
Hmm.
uh, once again, Sweets Monroe being there just in the studio, it's like, oh, that would
Right.
be tight to have a female vocal as the ad libs, and she nailed it, man. She
Of
nailed
course. Of course. And I shout out to Friend. I absolutely love Sweets.
it.
Um, the first time was on the record that you heard me rework, and I have to actually talk to Crab about doing it again because there's some things I want to change.
Okay.
But in general, she's always willing to work, and I love people that are about their craft. Like, so, shout out to my good friend Sweets. I love her to death.
Shout out to
She's so
Sweet.
great. Also, let's talk about the cover because the cover means so much. Go
Yeah.
in depth about what that cover means, why that photo, why were you placed in that position in the photo, like the said photo that's next to you.
Yeah. So once we recorded the project, um I had got a text from Just H, and he was
Hmm.
just like, yo, bro, like I don't know if you thought anything for the name of the title, the album yet. He said, but I think I got an idea what it should be called. And I'm like, all right. He was like, yo, after being in the studio and listening and how personal you got and all the stuff you were saying, he said, I think you should call it Coincide. I'm like,
Hmm.
Coincide? He like, yeah, because me, you, Tony Crav, and all the artists in the building, we coincided to create this. And you were saying some things that, that was so personal that couldn't have came from nowhere but inside of you. So he was
Hmm.
like, yo, that's you Kojo, Ko, inside. And I'm like, and I ain't even question him. I said, yo, that's what we going with. And he's
Hmm.
like, and he's a graphic designer as well. So he said, I already also got an idea for the cover. I said, what you think? So he had sent me a picture of the Jadakiss album, the
Hmm.
Ignatius, the newest one. where Jada has on like a bomber jacket, and he has a picture of his friend Ice Pick J, who passed away, on his shirt.
Right.
And he, yo, but I think you should have like a bunch of different people that you care about on your shirt, and maybe you have on like a suit jacket or something. So I said, okay, that's a thought. And I kind of like the idea as well. So I had so many people who I'm speaking on this project. It's like I couldn't be able to narrow it down to just one person. So I'm just like, so that's when I got to, just thinking, I'm like, man, I don't know, what could this be? So at the time, I was literally in the process of, I hadn't cut my hair yet. And I had actually seen a picture on Facebook that somebody had posted of my pops on like a Throwback Thursday type joint. And I'm like, yo, that's crazy. So I'm laughing about the picture, like, yo, that's crazy. But now I thought about it. A lot of times people say, yo, you look like your dad. I'm like, what? Yeah, I think so. Kind of trying to, shy away from the idea of that. But it's like, okay, that's what y'all think. But so when I seen the picture, I said, oh man, that would be tight if I just got it put on the shirt. But then my mind started turning. And if you look at the Jadakiss Ignatius cover, you'll see Jadakiss took a picture looking sideways, just like this.
Right.
So I said, yo, what if I make that the cover? And then on top of that, I'm gonna pick my hair out, have my bush out, just like he got his bush out on the picture. It'll be a picture of him on my shirt. And then it got taken a step further because my brother, who's also a graphic designer, he ended up designing the cover. And he said, oh, look how crazy that is. Because my pops actually got a picture of himself on his shirt. So it's me with a picture of him on my shirt, with him with a picture of him. And everybody is, the bush. So that's crazy. And then, like I say, just the added art, piece of it, the splashes of paint that's all over the cover. It just made it feel like, that artistic, but still, because of what I'm speaking about, super transparent. And anybody who's been listening to my music for some time now or whatever, that's always been a battle with the relationship with me and my dad. And to be at this point now that we got like the tightest relationship that we've ever had, in my opinion, like there's a full understanding. It's like when life comes full circle and you grow and you start to learn and understand different things that you didn't know as a youngin, so it was a beautiful thing. So yeah, man, this cover was something I was super proud of. And it just made all the sense in the world because of the content of the album.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, you do look like your dad, because I was like, okay, so it's either one or two things. Either that's your father or that's Huey P. Newton. I was like, which is great because it looked very radical. I was like, okay, but to now know that story in its entirety, I was like, okay, I love that. I definitely love that. So I need to explain to you where you are in my life, in my playlist.
Okay. Frozen again.
This has been the best interview. I don't give a damn. We're going to get there. Okay, so I need to explain where you are in my playlist. Okay. In my playlist right now, you sit in between Nas and the Lox. And I'm so serious because so there, in my mind, I feel like we are men of a certain stature and a certain age. Yeah. And there is a level of music at this particular point that is like, it's complete. It's something different. It's different. It hit different. Nas's King's Disease album came out. Coincide came out maybe a couple of weeks later. Yeah. Then I also got hit with the Lox, and I'm like, all this freaking music, like I don't even know what. I was like, what is going on? This is so great, and I've listened to all of them, so I'm putting them separately in their own King's playlist.
Yeah.
And I'm just recently at this point, at this particular point, I have to give it a second listen because I listened to it tonight. But Busta's Extinction Level Event 2 is also now going in that category. However, I am so proud of you.
Thank you, man.
Happy for you. I love the focus. I love the determination. I love that you make everyone around you feel comfortable. You make everyone understand, like, yo, I'm leaving a legacy on this world. And whether it's through my children or through my music, y'all gonna get this legacy. And I so appreciate it. The other thing is you also have an EP working, from what I've heard as well, with a good friend of mine.
Yes.
Yeah. By the way, me and Obese are made up. We done made up. We good, y'all. We good. Don't be out in these streets talking no shit. But you have a project coming with Obese. So how was that working out for you?
Man, it was crazy. During this time, right after my fast, which ended like July 22nd, 23rd, somewhere around there.
Right before my birthday.
Yeah. I ended my fast right then and there, and we went and shot the summertime video the weekend of like July 27th, 28th. I get back home.
Was my birthday. That was the reason why I was not there. That was my birthday weekend.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So 8 August 1st, I'm playing ball and I ruptured my Achilles. And
I remember.
Yeah. So after that happened, I ended up getting the surgery in about like 2 weeks later. So like August 14th, 15th, I got the surgery. And literally maybe 3 days after I got the surgery, I had got a call from an engineer from Virginia, and he was working on something. He wanted me to come in and do a cipher. And I said, man, I just had this Achilles surgery, but it don't affect me rhyming. So, man, hey, I'm there. Say no more. And he said, yo, if you do that for me, come put a verse on this cipher for me, man. He was like, yo, I'll open my studio up for you for the day. He didn't know who I don't know if he knew who he was talking
about. I don't know why he did that.
Yes. Cool. So I had a ton of beats from a bunch of different producers, but me and OB had already recorded Tape Pop. I got a video for it, and it was just like, yo, let's just add on to this and turn it into something. So he ended up he sent like 3 or 4 beats, and I knocked those out, boom, 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 boom. Then as we riding down, he started playing beats in the vein, and I create on the way down there. So we go in and we got like 7 or 8 that's like, EP ready. But once again, that whole workload is like, yo, we don't ever stop. So last night we started on something else to add to, which is gonna be crazy. So yeah, man, shout out to OB, man.
I am so excited for my friend. My friend has come so full circle. So God bless him.
Yeah.
I'm humbled by this whole experience. I never would have thought that artists such as yourself will want to talk to a guy that just loves hip hop the way that I do, and loves this music the way that I do, and that y'all sit down with me and y'all really chop it up. So I, again, am humble and appreciate it. I'm so glad that our journeys are reconnecting again.
Yes, sir.
God is good. God is good. God is good.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So I'm definitely excited about that. But so are there any other projects that you're working on or anything else that you're trying to put your Achilles heel into?
Yeah. So now that Coincide is out and we pushing it, Murray's Aura. My man Dirt Road, his grandma passed away as well. Her name was Mary. And then my grandma, who just recently passed away, her name is Aura. So we got a project, Kilo Jones is coming, titled Mary's Aura. Man, it's really, really special. Y'all can look for that around Thanksgiving. Also, me, Comp, and Dirt Road also locked in and created it's looking like it's gonna be called 98 Bulls. I don't know if I was supposed to say nothing yet, but no, that's what it's gonna be.
Okay.
Project called 98 Bulls.
Okay.
And we got one more studio session, and that's gonna be a wrap.
So we talking Jordan, Pippen, Rodman.
Yeah.
Hello, good bro.
Yeah. So
Sure.
so yeah, we come in with that. So Murray by Kilo Jones, 98 Bulls by Kojo Comp and Dirt Road. The Obstacle Beats Project. We haven't decided on the title for that yet. I got a project titled Benny. That's all coming out. That's already recorded and all of that. So yeah, man. My slogan is we gonna just keep on working.
Yeah, or working harder than everybody.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
Just keep working harder than everybody.
Just keep working harder than everybody. It's fine. Yeah. It's fine. You know what I mean? I really am thankful for what you're doing. What you don't think that you're doing is moving the needle on the culture, but the reality is you are.
Appreciate you.
Are like, bro, like that I've maybe run into maybe one other artist that has worked extremely hard as you have, but I think that you are able to face the adversity and say, you know what, look, I'm good. I'm going to still grind on this because there's purpose. You know what I'm saying? So when we talk about purpose and passion, and what I talked about beforehand, and I want to leave with this was you and I talked about off cam, but I'm going to talk about it on cam now. Is you putting purpose into me, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful as hell for that, because even in that moment, let me explain something. And I gotta go on my high horse. The Rona situation made me switch up everything. We had to switch up everything. You know what I'm saying? To like things had to change. I had to think of a new way to do stuff. All of those things, and I had to do it on the fly. My whole situation had been about that. So if you're talking about from God knows when until the last day that you saw me recently, I hadn't been in the studio. You know what I'm saying to you? And I was like, look, I just hadn't, but I didn't know if my vibe had changed, or if I had changed as a person, or the people around me had changed, or if they understood that I'm still ill, or you know what I'm saying? All of those things ran through my mind. But for it to be me and you in that split moment, and for you to say to me, yo, I respect what you do, and I see you. That meant the world to me. So I wholeheartedly, King, appreciate you for everything that you're doing for this culture and moving this needle forward and taking a chance.
Yeah, man, we ain't got frozen again.
And see, that's what happened when you speak greatness.
Yeah, no, yeah, we got.
That is what happens when you speak greatness.
Oh, for sure. That's what it's all about. They say you gotta pour into other people, man, and so many people have poured into me and inspired me and motivated me, man, and in a real genuine way. So I lead with that. That if somebody is doing something and you think it's commendable, you tell them, because maybe somebody else didn't. And I want to be that person who like, I have no problem showing love and giving respect. And as they say, giving props where it's due. And I ain't lying. I see how people moving out here. I see how people grind, man. And ain't nothing wrong with saluting that, because like I said, for me, I've had to travel hundreds of thousands of miles in certain cases, man, to for people to kudos or show love when I know it's people who are seeing it right in front of their face, and just they choose to look the other way, and that's fine too, because like you said, at the end of the day, it's about purpose. So and my goal is to be a part of that lineage that's making purpose popular. So whether it's as trendy as a radio hit, as viral as a TikTok video, or whatever space that those things that people hold near and dear to their heart. Me, I'm as Jay say, I'm playing forever. I'm playing the forever game. I'm in a space where it's some people who one hit wonders. You here today, gone tomorrow. I've landed in a space that's eternal. When you find yourself, your words touching the hearts of people, that's a different type of different type of connection. And I told you, man, the last time me and you chopped it up, and you know, I got a little carried away. You know, tell me when I'm lying. You know, I told myself I was gonna try not to have one of those moments, but I do want to say, man, that I always want to, you know, thank those and like I say, show appreciation to the platforms on any level. Definitely, like I say, I get the texts weekly when, you know, you upload and you putting out new content and all of that. And
I'm working so hard. I'm so tired.
People don't see the things that happen behind the scenes, and I'm one of the people who make it my business to pay attention to not just the surface stuff, but the stuff that happens behind the scenes, because that's what makes the stuff on the surface even work. So, man, super appreciative of that.
Absolutely. One day, I think we need to you need to title a song that you do say Dawn, just so people are very
that's not even a we not even guessing on that no more.
I know.
And I'm saying that as humbly as possible. But yeah, we not even gonna take a guess on that no more.
Right.
With everything that's, once again, man, super blessings. This ain't even like one of those things where you know, it has actually turned into you could say a relationship with the right people, man. And you know, when you, once again, you be yourself, you be real. No, I don't have millions of dollars, $100,000s of dollars, and nothing like that. I'm not like dripped in jewelry or nothing like that. But when people from the outside can take a glance in and see somebody being tried and being tried, remaining true, man, the respect level becomes like out of this world. And then, you know, opportunities and certain things present themselves. And like I say, me, I just stand in it and then push forward. I told myself, I said, man, I'm gonna try not to take up too much of your time. I know the show's supposed to be like an hour, but whenever we connect and have these chop ups, man, for me, it's always, like I say, a beautiful situation, because it's like I get to express to you the things that I see you do. You also do the same with me, and we're able to show love, and like I say, share platforms and show love. And like I said, you know, in the studio, I got to see you, you know, rhyme. You know what I mean? Hop on the mic.
Right, which is something that you've never seen. So that was actually really dope. A little nerve wracking, but dope. I'm gonna tell you why, because that is one of those things when I told Crab for the first time ever, I had to re-push my pen, because I'm like, when I write a verse, I write a verse, and it is what it is. Two, you also are. I'm rapping, and I'm rapping, even though I'm behind the booth, I'm rapping in front of a Dawn. You understand what I'm saying to you? So I'm like, if I don't come with this heat and make this track feel the way that I want it to feel, it doesn't even matter. And doing it in front of a Dawn, somebody that does it better than I do. You know what I'm saying to you? It's debatable, but you do it better than I do.
That's how you got carried out here.
It's debatable, whatever. But just in that general sense, to have that moment, I was like, oh, let me show you that I kills this. Like, I talk a good game, but my game is even better, and my bark is even better than my bite. So, you know, whenever you're ready to work with the kids, you call me. You let the kid, don't let the one track fool you. You understand what I'm saying? You let the kid know. Because my actual goal for what was the goal for 2020 until the shift came, but it's for 2021. I am determined to be the feature king. Like, I want to do features all day long.
All right, well, easy bag then. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Not to mention the fact, actually, that bag really where that came from. That actually came from Busta Rhymes. That was where my motivation of that came from
Okay.
originally. Was Busta, like he used to do it in the beginning. Busta did it. Missy did it. And especially Missy. Like Missy would come up and she would only do features. Like that was my goal. I want to be able to do the feature, do something that is ridiculously sick, drop the mic and leave. Like that's it. That's it. Those are the goals. Those are the goals. But yes, I am once again so blessed and so humble to share space with you to be able to do this again. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the show out, but don't go anywhere. I'm gonna actually take you down for a second, and we will go ahead and end it out, and then don't leave. Okay.
Covember's on the way. Just let everybody know Covember's on the way, and we turning breaking the knobs off. One project I forgot to mention. Will be dropping. I did a project with my homeboy Joyce TRC. We did the entire project in Pittsburgh. It's gonna be an EP. It's titled For the Fans. Once again, For the Fans. We did a 4-track EP that's coming out. And
are you using the number 4 again? Because that seems to be a running theme.
Yeah. We turn it up until we break the knobs off, man. That's all it is to it. Covember, like I say, Covember is 2 days away, and I promise you, we just getting started. We're gonna just keep on working harder than everybody.
Because I mean, is there anything else to do?
No.
So there. All right. So once again, y'all, this is Kojo, but yeah, me, stay in the background for a minute, and I'll be right with you. All right. That's my dude. All right, y'all. So once again, the kid has brought you another dope ass interview, of course. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I hope to see y'all in the future. And if you missed any of this will be in the playback. Now I gotta go, and I gotta make it happen. You know what I'm saying to you? But you've tuned into another episode with Young Smooth, and don't you feel better about it? You should. Absolutely. All right, y'all. Peace.